So a lot of our listeners are probably, just house hacking their first deal. They might have 3 units, 10 units, somewhere in that range. What would you say to someone looking at on a much smaller scale? Hey, I have this 3 unit in Rogers Park. I have this, corner 4 unit. Do you feel that you could still be successful on a much smaller scale there? Or is there a minimum amount of infrastructure needed to make this work?
Guys, I'll say this now. I'm going to say it to you. I've said this plenty of times. I'm glad we're documenting this. There are people that come to me and say, "Oh, we're never going to make the deals our parents did 20 years ago, 30 years ago." And, so it's like this level of like not giving up. So, I'm going to buy Bitcoin. I'm just going to do something stupid. Guys, if we find a property, it's 3, 4, whatever it is, make sure you have a plan of return, right? I like to shoot for an in-place return of 10% on my cash on in-place income. Right? I mean, why we've been able to grow, and the reason why we're able to grow and still keep the leverage points that banks really love is because we've been able to, over the last 7, 8 years, we've been able to hit 30 to, depending on the deal, 35 to 45% annualized returns on all our properties. But in our space, we refinance and we never sell. So we're always refinancing. So and always pulling out equity and then using that equity for additional properties and so forth. So, and obviously putting the right amount of debt, not too much, not too little, because I look at debt as the same thing. I look at debt as the same as water, gas, electric, property taxes. That's how I look at debt. That's how I look at it. It's a cost, and make sure that you're not putting it a very high cost where it affects your returns. So, wait, did I answer your question?
Is there a general rule of thumb you would say? Because that's the first thing our listeners are going to ask is like, hey, what LTV is a good rule of thumb?
I have a very good friend. He's a very good friend. He's a very successful broker. And now he's looking at place income and do multifamily. He's done some single family houses, right? And now he's looking at how do I get into that 3, 4? I want to start building some apartments and building a supply. And I say to him, first and foremost, look at the deal and just do the math, right? And make sure you're taking debt, because he's had a habit of just paying things cash and then making a return or flipping it and making 20, 30% on his cash and call it a day. Problem with flipping, guys, sometimes you end up spinning your wheels, because the idea of what happened, the model I like of buy, hold, operate is you're never selling the cow. The Indian societies and where I came from, the cow was a big deal when you sold it, right? It was a big deal. You're basically giving up the lifestyle. You're basically not taking the control in your hands. You're giving the control to someone else when it comes to your food supply. So you never sold the cow. Same thing here. I would never sell the cow, meaning those properties, unless it was a property that was out of my territory, a stupid offer on it. And I said to myself, I don't mind if I lose another 20, 30% of value in the next 5 years, because I'm going to do something else with it. But here's the idea of always being in the game. So here, you have guys that they sell, they buy, they sell, they flip, and then they buy, they sell, they flip, and they go bigger, and then they get their head chopped off. Right? You've been successful, smaller, and all of a sudden you go bigger, head chopped off. And then you have nothing to show for all that work, right? So this idea of operate, increase value, you increase 20% of income on a property, you'll probably double your money of equity that you put down. You take that, you refinance that, go to the next property. That property, though, will cash flow, the next property, and so forth, as opposed to selling that property, putting it to something else, and that's where it gets a little risky in my mind, because you don't have anything to show for it when the music stops. And sometimes the music stops.